Sampadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Samupe, Jumpadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you punctua, Asam punctua.
Good evening, Era One radio listeners and viewers all over the world. It's another Tuesday, the second day of May 2023. Isn't it amazing how quickly the year is running? We just started January a few months ago, and it's already, we are in the 5th month. Next month, we break half of the year, and all too soon, 2023 will be gone. Well, tonight I'll bring you greetings from our studio manager, Dr. Setutu, and the Era One management team. Of course, we are broadcasting live from Facebook, YouTube, and Modern Ghana Radio. So if you don't have the app, please go to your Google Store, or is it App Store, Play Store, wherever you get your apps. Download the Era One app. It's a blue symbol on the it's a yellow symbol on the blue background. Make sure you have the right one, Era One Radio. Download it anytime we are on. You will be alerted, and that's the 24/7 broadcast. All right, if you want to join the broadcast tonight, the number to call in is 2402-802-633. And if you want a text, it's 510-931-0946. We are broadcasting live, or I am broadcasting live tonight on Facebook, YouTube, my Modern Ghana Radio. I want to invite you to our broadcast tonight. It's 6:08 Eastern Time. And so if you are in Australia, if you are in Ghana, if you are in UK, any part of the world that you are, just convert your time, and that is the greetings I'm giving you tonight. So here, it's a very good evening to everyone in the United States. And as I welcome you into our studios, I also want to politely welcome myself into your homes, into your vehicles, wherever you are going, that you have Era One. You will hear us live and kicking. All right, let me take a jingle, and then we will be back to continue.
Sampadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Samupe, Jumpadia, Chimafidi non kotu, era one radio. Oh, and you punctua, Asam punctua. Era One,
all right, we are back to Era One Radio, broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Modern Ghana Radio, also on Modern Ghana Radio, and you can catch us live wherever you are calling and chatting it from. Well, I thought I was going to have my team with me tonight, but unfortunately, my team is still out. Miss Saban is on a national assignment, and Uncle Max is also touring the whole of Europe. So I wish them all the best. Hopefully next week, or by this Thursday, we're going to be back live. Well, tonight I just want to do a little exhortation, just to lift ourselves up, motivate ourselves. Sometimes you are down, and you might have to get somebody to lift you up. Sometimes nobody comes your way, and so you just have to be like David, and just motivate or edge yourself. Because when David's camp was ransacked, he asked the Lord, should I pursue? Should I go after my captors? And the Lord said, go. And he did go, and he captured and retrieved and restored all that was stolen. So whether you are down or you are midway, I just want to encourage you. It is not that bad. It will get better. Sometimes it gets so worse before it gets better. So tonight, I just want to lift you up wherever you are. I am lifting you up by this exhortation. Tonight, I'm looking at vessels of honor. Are you a vessel of honor, or are you a vessel of dishonor? But before I do, let me just do a quick recap of what I did last week. For those of you who were not here, I did this topic on ministering to one another with our spiritual gifts, That's what I talked about last week. And then, of course, normally I start with a warm up where I mentioned the sweet 16th birthday of this chick lady that was celebrated 16th birthday, and about 4 or 5 people ransacked the birthday and killed about 4 people, which was very pathetic. And a 16-year-old boy, was going to fetch his siblings, his two brothers. Those were twins that he was going to fetch from the neighborhood. The neighborhood happens to be the same address, I think 115. And this guy got accidentally got lost, ended up in an 85-year-old man's door, and bam, he was shot twice, but thank God he survived. And we had some kids playing ball in the neighborhood. The ball straight into their neighbor's house, and then all of a sudden, the owner comes with a gun. You have college students trying to go for their game, support and all they wanted to do, and they ended up being gunned. And of course, last week was also not so good a week for our news anchors. Tucker Carlson of Fox News and then Don Lemon of CNN. Both of them were, let go in the same week, and that was very pathetic. I was kind of, because I used to watch the morning Don Lemon show if I have a break or something, but unfortunately, he's been let go. And the reason surrounding that was kind of very sad, because it was as if there was a mountain kind of issues that they thought had reached their climax. And the reason for him being let go was not even, it was just sad. I'm not happy with what happened to Don. But, sometimes people do what they have to do for what kinds of reasons. Anyway, well, and I also mentioned the police officer way back in Ghana who also shot his girlfriend in cold blood. He shot his side chick, which was very sad. Side chick, I hear he already has a wife, and for whatever he was doing with the side chick, nobody knew. And he came up with a reason that the girlfriend owed him an amount of 5,000 Ghana cedis. That was the reason why he shot her, but I believe there's more to it. You shoot somebody just because she owes you 5,000 cedis, which you divide by 10, $500 for the life of somebody who was just 26 years. Sometimes we do blame a lot of things on mental health issue, but trust me, not everything is mental issue. We have anger issues, and it's a global issue. Anger issue is a global issue all over the world. It's not limited to one country. Somebody does something to somebody, and instead of recalling, going to your one corner, letting the force pass, relaxing and going over the anger, and later let it simmer down, and then you can approach the person. No, the anger comes and instantly they have to act. And most of the things that people say is mental illness, trust me, it is not mental illness. It's just anger issue. Looks as if 80% of the people in this world need to go from anger management. We all go through anger. Nobody is saying that being angry is a sin. Even Bible says that be angry but sin not. Anger is part of our emotion and what we go through. But what you do after being angry is the issue. You can be angry, because if you ever say I've never been angry before, then really you are not a living soul. Everybody gets angry. Sometimes I get angry at my own self, at my own situation. You get into a situation where you become so angry, you want to move forward. That is what is going to motivate you. Sometimes anger is good. It depends on the level you take it. You can be angry, but Bible says do not sin. Get angry over situations that you want to improve and you want to change, but that should not let you sin or do something crazy to somebody. You are angry because you are saying somebody owes you $5,000, or your side chick didn't pick up your phone call. That is bad. If you are angry, please, if you are angry, just leave the area. Go and look for a solitary place. Take a walk. Read something. Anger is anger, but do something. Do not vent your anger on somebody. Never even throw a blow at anybody. And if you have a gun with you, please don't go for it. At the moment you are so angry, everything is loose on you. You want to do anything you think about. And when everything is done, then you say, oh, what made me do it? And then we mention the devil. Sometimes the devil is in a different country, minding his own business, doing what doesn't even pertain to you. Or it was the devil who made me do it. Come on now. We cannot keep on blaming the devil for everything that we do. Sometimes we have to be responsible, own up to what we do, repent, and then decide not to do it again. But if you keep doing the same thing over and over again, then there's an issue. So For those of you who think that anger is a mental issue, well, call it what you want to call it, but take control. If you need help, please go for help. If you have to talk to a medical a professional or anybody, please talk to somebody. There's too much going on. Every other day we hear something. I mean, just this year alone, before 1st May, how many people have died in this country and other parts of the world? All because somebody couldn't control his or her anger. Please, let's watch it. It's not helping us. We have to do something about it. Even animals don't behave this way. When an animal gets angry, what do? You see them using their head to bash or kick trees or something. But we have to take something and hurt somebody. That is not good. So last week I talked about each of us using our gifts to be a blessing to others. The gift that God has given us, according to 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 10, is supposed to be a blessing to humanity. Whatever gift it's given you, God has given you, does not belong to you alone. And this is the area where people say, oh, I work so hard for all my money. Yeah, it's good. God gave you the strength. But even there, we are expected to share with the needy. It is not everybody who will be rich in this life. Otherwise, Jesus wouldn't have said it, that as for the poor, they will always be with you. So if you have some and you have enough and you can spare, do, because even just the $10 that you give somebody in other parts of the world can feed a family. So we have to share the gift that God has given us. And those gifts come in so many ways. The gift of being able to exhort somebody, lift somebody up, being able to hold a hand and give the person a hand, being able to bless people with the gift of your voice. Somebody can sing, and if you have any issue, it just dissipates. And you remember Saul in his days. Saul gets angry and evil spirit comes upon him and he has to go and fetch David. David will come with his harp, play some instrument on the lyre and all the instrument that he could play. And instantly Saul's anger will leave, the bad spirit will leave him and he will be refreshed. So whatever gift you have, especially in the church. And I did mention other aspects of gifts that Paul mentioned about, the gifts of the Holy Spirit. We mentioned the fivefold gifts that when Jesus ascended, that is Ephesians 4:11. When Jesus ascended, he gave gifts unto men. He gave some apostles, some pastors, teachers, evangelists, and prophets. But unfortunately, some people do not want to stay in their lane. They want to crisscross their lane. If you're a pastor and you don't have the gift of a prophet or you're not prophetic, you don't have to covet that gift. Use the other person's gift to make your church complete. That churches that the pastors are not prophets, but they can teach so well that when you come, you will receive good teaching that will be able to, make a change in your life. And when a prophet comes and also give the mind of God, a prophetic, take all together. So each of us should use our gift. Whatever you are gifted in, use it. Some people are gifted in playing soccer. Football, baseball, call it whatever, basketball, whatever. That is your gift. Steve Curry or whatever can stand about so many meters away and just dunk that ball. If you take me on the basketball and you put me right under the rim, I might not be able to put it in. But if you give me a soccer ball, I can dribble you and put the ball in the net. So each of us have a gift. Even in my old age, trust me, I can play good soccer maybe for 30 minutes, but that is enough. So Peter was enjoining us in his book that he wrote, 1 Peter 4:10, that we must use our gifts even to bless other people. Well, tonight I want to go a little bit into, before I do, there were other spiritual gifts that I gathered, I researched, I saw, and some mentioned the gift of wisdom, understanding, counsel, fortitude, knowledge, piety, and the fear of the Lord. These are also spiritual gifts. Wisdom doesn't come easily. If everybody in this world had wisdom, we wouldn't be in what we go through every day. Wisdom is a special gift. To be able to know what to do at the right time is a spiritual gift. If you wake up in the morning, nobody tells you to go and brush your teeth or go and pee or whatever it is. But there is some things that it takes only wisdom, and others understanding. Somebody can just read a line and the understanding of the line is way, way, way different from what other people perceive. So these are all gifts. Being able to counsel, somebody can give you an advice that as soon as you get up, you are on your feet moving. Knowledge, piety, holiness. Even holiness is a gift. It's not everybody who can be holy. There are some men who can say, as for me, I can't stay 3 weeks without seeing a lady. That is their weakness. But if you can do that, it could be your gift, it could be your strength. And the fear of the Lord, which is the beginning of wisdom, the fear of the Lord is also a gift. All right, so let me zoom into what I want to touch on tonight. In the absence of my team, we have to keep our system running. All right, so vessels of honor, and I'm going to take my reflection from Second Timothy chapter 2, and I'll read snippets of verse 1 to 26. Sometimes I do a book review, and where I take some of the books that are around, books that exhort, lift us up, not just any other, but then books that have been written that inspires, give us something to, feed on. And I've done a review on John Maxwell. I've done Miles Monroe. And tonight I want to take a book out of the scriptures, the Bible. I'm looking at a book that Paul wrote to his protege by name Timothy. Timothy, Tyrus, those guys were people that Paul had brought up and ministered to. He took Timothy under his wings, tutored him to also become a pastor. Timothy was a young guy, at the time that he was supposed to be blowing life and enjoying life. But Paul saw that this guy is a vessel of honor for the Lord. And so Paul spends enough of time writing to this guy. Even when he was in prison, he would write to him. He took Timothy on some of his trips. And he exhorted Timothy and he told him that, the gift that you have, the spiritual gift, the leadership, came from your mother and your grandma. He mentioned Lois and all the people that were in the line of Timothy that has been an inspiration to him, that Timothy came from a family where there was a fear of God. His mother taught him, and his mother also learned from her mother, which is Timothy's grandmother. So Paul writes to Timothy and exhorts him to be what he wants him to be an apostle for the church, to be a teacher, to be a good leader, an example, a model for the church. And so in 2 Timothy chapter 2, the first verse, this is what it says. You therefore, my son, be strong in the grace that is in Christ Jesus, and the things that you have heard from me among many witnesses, commit these to faithful men who will be able to teach others also. You therefore must endure hardship as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. No one engaged in warfare entangles himself with the affairs of this life, that he may please him who enlisted him as a soldier. And also, if anyone competes in athletics, he's not crowned unless he competes according to the rules. The hard-working farmer must be first to partake of the crops. Consider what I say, and may the Lord give you understanding in all things. Let me jump and go to verse 20. Where this is where the vessels of honor come from. It says, but in a great house, there are not only vessels of gold and silver, but also of wood and clay, some for honor and some for dishonor. Therefore, if anyone cleanses himself from the latter, he will be a vessel of honor, sanctified and useful for the master, prepared for every good work. Now, let me ask you this question. Are you a vessel of honor, or you are a vessel of dishonor? When we hear about honor, one word that comes to my mind is military, because I was in the Navy. And when you get discharged from the military, you are given a certificate of either that of honor or dishonorable. Not many people get discharged of dishonorable, because if you have a certificate of dishonorable, what it means is that you did something bad. I mean, they couldn't give you a good farewell. You did something so bad that nobody even wants to recognize you or give you a good testimony. And in the United States, being a veteran, if you serve in the military, you are esteemed and honored. There are so many benefits that military people we get that other civilians don't get. Not that we are so special, but because of the sacrifice that we give to our nation in terms of being a part of war and all that stuff. So if you're a veteran, you are given preferences, even when you're looking for a job. This is not being biased, but most of the employers, they look at that. Have you served in the military? And even with the federal jobs, they give preference to military before civilians. So that should make you know and think that the military occupies a very high prestige in our society. So if you are discharged from the military and it's okay, you were discharged with honorable discharge. That is good. I mean, you work with your chest out here. I said my military, whether it's you did a 4-year tour or you did a 8 years tour, you did your 20 years before you retired. No matter how many years you did, if you get a certificate of honorable discharge, that is very good. If you show it to anybody, even looking for colleges, schools. I mean, attending, want to do your masters on they give you military discounts. I mean, with my PhD, I had I think 10% discount or whatever it is on my tuition. So that is something that you want to cherish. So if you are given an honorable discharge, it means a lot. On the contrary, if you are discharged in the military and you are only given discharge of being honorable or dishonorable discharge, then please, that is bad, because you did something that your CEO or whoever is signing your discharge paper wasn't pleased with you. And if you are asked of your military status, veteran status, and anybody sees that, oh, you were discharged on dishonorable discharge, they look at you twice. And if you are giving a job, they are wondering, why was he given a dishonorable discharge? What did he do wrong? Is he going to do the same thing here? So it's very important. So when Paul, who had been in prison several times, Paul, I believe, was the most incarcerated apostle we can think about. Peter was there too. But let's see, Paul was incarcerated the most. And this guy wasn't perturbed. It's like he knew he was going to be in prison in and out. So it's like, as for him, going to prison was his bedroom or something. He would just go and come back. The Romans would grab him. He would come back and, So even in prison, he was writing letters. And that is why we know Paul and Silas were in prison. They were singing. While they were singing, the feathers came off their legs. The chains came up. This guy was a known inmate, so to speak. As for Mark Shaw, he was always they were just taking pictures of Paul all the time in his Mark Shaw. I don't know what color they were in those days, but Paul was, a renowned inmate. And so even in prison, he write to his followers, he write to Timothy, that this is what you have to do. In a great house, liken it to a home. There are so many verses. Yewo benkuta, yewo dadisen, yewo chensi, yewo gagba, yewo everything. In a great house, there are all these verses there. You have asanka, so those of you like eating fufu in asanka. If they don't put your fufu in asanka, they will give you a nice dish. No, me pa asanka, I want to be close to the earth. Into me fufu into asanka. There's asanka in the house. These are all clay. And the silver, there is, earring, spoons and forks. And there are so many vessels in the house. And Paul is saying that some of them are of honorable use, others are dishonorable. There is clay, there is wood, there's everything. It doesn't mean that clay and wood are bad, but he's just making an analogy, using the metaphoric speech to express the fact that some are shiny elements and others are, netia, clear, bakey and all that stuff. And so he's asking, which of this do you want to be? But in the great house, there are not only vessels of gold and silver. It's not only gold and silver that you're going to meet in the house. There are so many things in the house that make the house complete. If everything was silver, where would be the asanka and the wardrobe and the warmer and things? Some of you like eating your fufu when it's pounded in wardrobe and warmer. You don't like these days when you just put the powder in microwave and turn it around. No, you want the real original. When your wife cooks fufu, as a wife, fufu they are here okay. Okay, pardon, and that's all the banchine board and and you don't want the first one, you want the original banchi and body put together, But you have to know that it's not only wardrobe and this thing in the house. There is a mixture. There is the gold, there is the diamond, there is all kinds of stuff. There is clay. And Paul says that some of them are for honor and some are for dishonor. But he said, if anyone cleanses himself from the latter, he will be a vessel of honor, sanctified and useful for the master, prepared for every good work. These are metaphoric expressions that Paul used to make an illustration to Timothy. That Timothy, even in the church, there are all kinds of people. It doesn't mean you should throw some of them away. There are people who will come and they come in all bling bling, shimmy, they are shining, glamorous on the outside, but you don't know the inside. Some are coming with tattered clothes, but you cannot kick people out. These are all, to be part of the body. That is why when Peter had a vision, I mean, an elderly man had a dream. The dream said was he saw all kinds of animals in a kind of tray being presented to him. And Peter was shown this dream. And in the vision, he was told to kill these animals and eat. And he told the overseer that, we don't eat these kinds of animals. And that vision appeared to him 3 times. What was God trying to tell him? He said, Peter, you guys were so Jewish conscious. Everything has to be focused and centered around the Jews. But the time is coming when I'm going to call all men and women from all the corners of the earth. It's not only Jews that God is going to recognize. Whether you were a Jew, you were a Gentile, God sees you as his child. Because there was nothing like the discrimination, whether you are black or you are white, indigo or mulatto. God does not see that. He created us all for his purpose. And Bible says in Acts 19:26, I believe, 17:26, that God created us for his purpose. So whether you live in Iceland, Jamaica, Ghana, Nigeria, everywhere, wherever you are, whatever boundary you are, God expects you to worship from that land. It doesn't mean those in the States are more important. God created us all for a purpose. So whatever it is, God accepts us. But then he's saying that if you cleanse yourself from the latter, you will become a vessel of honor. We need to cleanse ourselves. And he mentioned in 22, flee also youthful lust, but pursue righteousness. What is youthful lust? What is lust? Lust is what? Going after something that, either doesn't belong to you. You are covetous of it. And when you talk about lust, we are all talking about, oh man, okay, this guy likes women, he likes girls, and, want to see ladies outward appearance, and their eyes are going crazy. All these lustful things and all that stuff. Lust is not just after women. It could be anything. You see somebody's car that is worked so hard for, you seriously want it. Well, go get a job or do something. Yeah, just thank God. Or if God has been able to give this guy this good vehicle or whatever it is, then I can have it too. So we have to shun from youthful lust and colossal. Sometimes all you need is something that will take you from point A to point B. Whether it's a Rolls Royce, whether it's a Lamborghini, whatever it is, it's good to, drive in a Porsche car and all that stuff. It's good. If you can afford it, that's fine. I don't mind driving an old rickety car as long as it's taking me to where I need to go. I mean, if there's a time for you to upgrade, good, upgrade yourself. But if you haven't reached them, don't convert. Don't be lustful after other people's stuff. Just work as much as you can to get there. So he said, flee also useful lust, but pursue righteousness. What is righteousness? Having a right standing with God. That is righteousness. You are having a good and rightful standing with God. Have faith, love, peace with those who call on the Lord out of a pure heart. If all of us love each other, there wouldn't be anybody say, I'm going to pick up a gun, or if some children are playing ball and it strays into my yard, I'm going to take a gun. Why would that even be possible? I mean, you love children. Children are children. They are playing and their ball comes into your yard. No, you just join them and play with them. Just, what did Jesus say? That unless you become like little children, you cannot enter into the kingdom of heaven. Be like the little kids. Play with them. Oh, their ball came into your yard. Just go ahead and say, hey, let's play together. But that's not when you take a gun and say, I'm going to shoot you. That is really bad. I mean, it's unfortunate. And it says also avoid foolish and ignorant disputes, knowing they generate strife. I mean, how many times don't we fight with people in our houses, in our homes? Simple things become difficult and later ends up in something serious. A small thing, and like we hear some of these very flimsy stories that, okay, a wife puts the fork on the right and the knife on the left, meanwhile the man is a right-handed, and that simple act of forgetfulness, the man goes ballistic. Why did you have to put the fork on my right? You know I'm right-handed. The fork has to come to the left so I can use the right knife to cut it and eat. Why did you switch them? That little discussion leads on altercation, and the next time you know, somebody is packing their clothes, or 911 is being called. You mean small fork and knife that was rich? I'm sorry, forget it. It's become a beef. Oh, Jesus. Avoid foolish and ignorant disputes, knowing that they generate strife. And the servant of the Lord must not quarrel, but be gentle to all, able to teach, patient in humility, correcting those who are in opposition, if God perhaps will grant them repentance, so that they may know the truth, and that they may come to their senses and escape the snare of the devil, having been taken captive by him to do his will. Well, sometimes the explanation is that the devil has taken captive of people. I'm not disputing the fact that the devil can take captive of people, but then the same Bible also enjoins us that if we rest our hope in God, if we are humble and we oppose the enemy, then we're going to come out of this captivity. We will come to our senses. So those who are in mental illness and all that stuff, what can we do to help them? Maybe get them to see a doctor, do what we can do, maybe put them in a place where they will not become dangerous to society. We have to do all we can to make sure we are protecting ourselves. So the question I'm asking tonight is, are you a vessel of honor or you are a vessel of dishonor? Do the things you do make people grinch their teeth, or do they say, oh, good, well done, thou good and faithful servant? The things that we say, we are all learning. Sometimes we all get into issues that we wish we hadn't done them. We are all learning. It means that, but that doesn't mean you should continue repetitively doing it. We have to refrain from some things. Like I said, if you are angry at a point, that is not where you show your macho-ness or whatever it is. Refrain. Get yourself into a place. Calm down. Drink some water. Drink some apple juice. Calm down. And when you are calm down, then you can, talk wisely, sensibly, and smartly. But as soon as you are angry, you will do stuff, you will say stuff that later on you regret. But one thing about words is that they may just be words, but once they come out of you and they fall to the ground, you can never pick them up. There are some things when you say to people, even years and years and centuries pass, they will forgive you, but it's very difficult to forget. That's why we say, I will forgive you, but forgetting is something that is hard. Every now and then it will come up, unless we make an active effort that we are not going to remember it. So we have to be careful. Anger is a very bad issue, and that doesn't make us honorable. It doesn't make us good vessels. We have to be good vessels of honor. Something that Paul says in the Ephesians, I think 4:8 down, going down. Whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is virtuous, if there be any praise, think on these things. The things that we do, you ask yourself, is it worthy? Is it trustworthy? Is it full of virtue? Is it something that will bless or is going to harm people? Before you do it, before you say it, is it going to be a curse on somebody? We all sometimes say things that we regret, but that doesn't mean it should be a habitual thing. We should endeavor to refrain from them. Think about the things you say, even emails that we send across to co-workers, to our supervisor, and to our bosses. Before you hit that send button, was it worth it? Did you think about the words? Every single word you say in an email or a speech or whatever carries some weight. Sometimes where you put the is even in a sentence carries some weight. And before you hit that send button to your boss, okay, I want to tell him my peace of mind. In the end, who suffers? Some, of course, we get angry every now and then. We are so angry that this person did this thing so badly that you want to tell him or give him your peace of mind. After you've given him your peace of mind, what is left? And so let's begin to ask ourselves, are we being vessels of honor? People that we cherish, will make our nation better. Are we contributing to making our generation better that we meant it? When posterity comes behind us, are they going to say we did a better job or we left this world worse than we found it? Tonight, I'm asking this question. Are you a vessel of honor or you are a vessel of dishonor? That is the question I'm asking. All right, let me take a quick ad and then we'll continue.
They are four women. They are beautiful with brains. They are eloquent, decent, wise, and experienced. You have heard many. The funny. Now, it's time to hear the experience and the brainy. Meet Selena, Dorcas, Gifty, and Annette. as they present the real in common getting. In common BISS chain, the dead, as in Takrenu assume the dead, the real in common getting. Showing live this and every Sunday, 7 p.m. on Era One Radio on Facebook and on YouTube, Era One Radio and our Taibo channel. Kaise, so we see the real in common getting ya. What brabon tete, we nyan konsa, we the real in common getting.
If you are joining us, then you have joined the Era One Radio. We are broadcasting live, or I am broadcasting live on Facebook, YouTube, and Modern Ghana Radio. On behalf of my studio managers and the team, I am bringing you all the greetings that I can think of. So if you don't have the app, please do go to Play Store, Google app, and download the Era One Radio. Anytime we are live, please do, and share the app with your friends. Come and enjoy. When we are not broadcasting like this, it's music galore. I mean, Dr. Ostus is bashing music throughout the day. In the evening, get inspired and, learn a thing or two. All right, tonight I'm talking about vessels of honor. Are you a vessel of honor, or you are a vessel of dishonor? I don't think anybody wants to be a vessel of dishonorable or anything at all. That is what we're looking at. And the verse I used for my study was 2 Timothy chapter 2. I read a few verses from 1 through 4, and then I zeroed in on verse 20 to 26, where it talks about the fact that in a great house there are vessels of gold, of silver, but in addition to that, there are also of wood and clay, some for honor and some for dishonor. And he's saying that Timothy, according to that book given by Paul as exhortation, speaks about the fact that if we cleanse ourselves from the latter, meaning the clay and the wood, there will be, vessels of honor. But even there, the wood and the clay, it's not just, it's not like it is a bad thing that we have to crucify the wood or the clay. But then in a house, you choose to be what you want to be. Here, the vessels there, the gold and the silver, represent, the worthier things, the virtuous thing, the good thing that everybody wants to think about. That is just an analogy that Paul was making here to Timothy. And so it doesn't mean that the wood there is a bad thing. He just mentioned that in any house, all these mixtures are there. There are all kinds of people. And I made an analogy of the people in church. It's not everybody in church that is pious or holy or righteous or whatever. In actual fact, the church is the place where all kinds of people meet to make their life better. That is why God doesn't shun anybody. The church is not supposed to shun anybody. It is a place where, excuse me to use the word riffraff, every sphere, everybody in life meets, all come for salvation. So you can't drive anybody out of the house of God. We come there to receive salvation, to make our lives better. You go to church in a wretched state, but you have to come back better, because when you go, the message that you hear, the sermon that you hear should make your life. You want to change your lifestyle. You want to improve yourself. You want to be a better person. You don't go to church and come back worse than you went in. Well, so that's the illustration I was making tonight. In the absence of my team, I just wanted to exhort, just for us to answer this question in our own homes, in our own lifestyle. Are we vessels of honor, or are we vessels of dishonor? How do you want your life to go? Do you want your life to be like the guy who was, firing his gun in his house? The neighbor goes and says, "Hey, my daughter is trying to sleep. Can you stop, blowing your gun," or whatever it is? This guy gets angry and he kills about 3 or 4 people. That is not the person you want to be. You want to be a person of honor. Somebody will say, "Oh, ma'am, I'm sorry, my firing is disturbing your children. I'm going to stop, or I'm going to go into the woods and practice." That is somebody I call a person of honor. If this lady came and said, "Oh, my daughter is trying to get some sleep. Would you please stop the noise with your gun?" Or I could have said, "Oh, ma'am, I am sorry. I didn't know I was making that noise, and so I'm going to stop. Or I'm just going to run into the forest there and do some practice." He didn't do that. He rather left his house, chased them, and gunned them. That is not a person we call a vessel of honor. You don't want to do that. And so if all of us will take cue from this word, if all of us will steer our lives trying to do good to our fellow men, trying to be good to people and, helping people, touching people and making their life better, then you all be vessels of honor. That is when you can stand before the master and say, well done, thou good and faithful servant. You did well here. I have this place stored for you. Come enjoy the blessing. And so that is my quick, exhortation for tonight. Well, I said I'm not going to do a long broadcast tonight. So since my team is not here, and this program was designed, I designed it to have an interaction, a discussion with my team. So I only come to do solo when they don't. For some reason they are not here. Well, it's been a blessing having you with me tonight. And those of you who are around to enjoy, keep watching. I just want to play a clip of, and if you have a gift, keep mentioning if you have a gift, especially in the musical area, and you are saying to yourself, nobody has adored you or you are not known, you want to come out, maybe have your own plate one day, please talk to Dr. Ostus. 240, the number that I gave, 280 26. Let me go back to my number, make sure I'm giving you the right number. 240-280-2633. Please call the studio, talk to Dr. Ostus. And if you have a voice, you have a musical talent, you want to be interviewed on what you want to do going forward, Dr. Ostus has a program every Saturday from 6 to 9, and he will be happy to interview you and give you some pointers. Let's do this. All right. And so everyone is a 24/7 broadcast. Every day we have something going on to educate, to entertain, and to inform. On Mondays from 6 to 7, we have the premium financial program. Dr. Prince and Mr. Isiam come on, very expert people in budgeting, taxation, whatever it is. Please come and learn something for yourself. If you are making certain amount and you are spending more than that, which means you are not making wise decisions, come and listen to these guys, teach you how to operate your money, how your money can work for you. And right after that, we have our brother Kobe, who comes to give us highlights of the day's news, especially he grabs news from Ghana, Africa, and for those of us who don't hear news on daily basis from that part of the world, he comes to give us the filler. So join Kobe on Mondays and Wednesdays, Mondays 7 to 8 and Wednesdays I think 6 to 7, and he does his program with Dr. Ostus and Dr. Puku Ajiman. Join them and get some filler. All right, let me give you. All right, so that is it for you on Mondays and Wednesdays. Thursdays, I have the Divine Connection again, and then Fridays we have Count Your Blessings by our brother Isiam. Saturday, we come your way with the health is well show. Dr. Poku Ajima and myself and a few other health people come and give some information about staying healthy. And then Sunday we have our Uncommon Kitty ladies. It's been a pleasure having you tonight. Well, I'm going to say good night. I'm leaving with this song, and as I said, join the family, share our product, share our broadcast, and if you think there's something that you can do to make our broadcast better in terms of technology or whatever, if you want to give a token, even if you want to donate $1 to this studio, it's a non-profit, and this money can be used to help other people in other parts of the world. So don't hesitate to call 240-280-2633 or send a text 510-931-0946, and it will be happy. Every little thing will go a long way to be a blessing. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. We'll see you again Thursday and every evening this week. Thank you and have a good one. Bye-bye.
Aden urefiana say to me manya eni about Aden wasu mani su afosunade Aden me ba Aden kra useni da swasa eni da sonsa kra eni da sonsa yo eni da sonsa eya mensu bi eni da sonsa eni da suwa oh, I do,